This audiobook guides you to the 33rd degree, a realm where consciousness ascends and the veil between creator and creation grows thin. As you listen, you'll uncover the secret. Every challenge, every limitation is simply a doorway to your highest potential. The door is open. Are you ready to step through? The 33rd degree Mason. Introduction. Within the hidden halls of your own consciousness lies a chamber of unparalleled clarity, a summit so rarefied that few have glimpsed its heights. This is the 33rd degree, not a title granted by men, but a state of inner knowing where illusion melts into crystal understanding. Here, the veil between creator and creation becomes gossamer thin. The fragments of life you once saw as separate now reveal themselves as threads in an infinite tapestry, where numbers, proportions, and sacred geometry are not abstractions, but living currents flowing through every atom of your being. This wisdom was never lost. It sleeps quietly within you, awaiting the moment your consciousness is attuned enough to awaken it. Like a finely tuned instrument receiving hidden harmonies, your mind must reach the right vibration to perceive these truths. The ancient masters whispered this secret. True knowledge unfolds only when the seeker resonates with its frequency. In this exalted realm, you witness reality crystallizing from thought, sound, and deliberate intention. Every moment becomes both a classroom and a studio, where you simultaneously learn and shape the divine principles that govern existence. Forbidden was never a warning of denial, but a sign of natural law, an indication that comprehension arrives only when readiness matches understanding. As your awareness ascends, so too does your creative power, accompanied by the wisdom to wield it with grace. You are not acquiring something new. You are remembering what your soul has always known. The 33rd degree is a state of being where the boundaries between knower, knowledge, and the known dissolve into pure illumination. Here, you are both the apprentice tracing the blueprints of reality and the master architect shaping them. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Hidden Blueprint. Chapter 1. The Gate at the Center. A young woman named Daisy strolled through an ancient marketplace, her eyes drawn to the weathered walls and worn cobblestones that countless others had passed without notice. There, between two ordinary vendor stalls, stood a door, simple, wooden, yet somehow magnetic in its presence. While hundreds rushed past, none seemed to see it but her. As she approached, golden letters shimmered across its surface, "To the one who sees." The door was not locked. It had never been locked. The only barrier had been the belief that it could not exist. You too stand before such a door in every moment of your existence. The universe places no guards at its entrance, no complex riddles to solve. The only key required is your own readiness to step through. What appears as mystery is simply the mind's resistance to its own infinite potential. Through the ages, those who have glimpsed this truth have left subtle markers. Every perceived limitation is but a door waiting to be recognized. Every challenge presents not a barrier, but a threshold. You are both the seeker knocking at the gate and the key that opens it. Consider Wesley, a merchant who spent years believing success lay in external circumstances. Day after day, he saw only closed doors, until the moment he realized the door was his own perception. Upon shifting his inner assumption from "I must find opportunity" to "I am opportunity," his entire world transformed. Suddenly, the same marketplace that had seemed barren of possibility burst with abundant connections. The same people who had passed him by now stopped to engage. Nothing external had changed, only his recognition of his own worthiness to step through. The ancient teaching whispers, "Reality is not a solid wall, but a responsive gateway. It opens or closes according to your deepest assumptions about yourself." When you truly understand this, you recognize that every circumstance is simply reflecting back your inner relationship with possibility. Practice the gateway of being. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to release any tension or doubt. Now, with your eyes closed, visualize before you a magnificent door. See the words "I am ready" inscribed in light across its surface. Feel the gentle pulse of potential emanating from beyond it. Place your hand upon the door. Feel its warmth, its welcome. Know with absolute certainty that you are worthy to enter. Now, with calm assurance, open the door and step through. Experience the immediate shift in the atmosphere around you. The air itself seems to shimmer with new possibility. Each breath draws in not just air, but realization. Each thought creates ripples in this new space of being. Remain here for a few moments, allowing yourself to acclimate to this expanded state of consciousness. Every insight that arrives is a room within this new architecture of your being. You have always been both the door and the one who steps through it. Chapter 2: Geometry of Mind. In a sunlit chamber overlooking ancient gardens, Pearl sat with paper and compass before her. Yet as her hand moved across the blank page, she set the tools aside. Something within beckoned her to draw freely, to trust the wisdom that flowed through her fingers. As she began, circles emerged, each one connecting to the next in perfect proportion, forming an intricate mandala of interconnected rings. Those who watched gasped softly, for without measurement or guide, Pearl created patterns that echoed the sacred geometries found in nature's finest designs: the spiral of galaxies, the arrangement of flower petals, the hidden mathematics of life itself. The universe speaks in the language of pattern, and your consciousness is the interpreter of this divine dialogue. When doubt falls away, the mind naturally aligns with the fundamental blueprints of creation. Like Pearl's circles, your thoughts follow invisible laws of harmony, creating ripples that extend far beyond their origin. In every moment, infinite intelligence shapes reality through sacred symmetry. This is not mere metaphor. It is the architecture of existence itself. Your consciousness, when aligned with this universal flow, naturally creates order from chaos, beauty from randomness, meaning from the seemingly meaningless. Emmett discovered this truth through his own journey. For years, he encountered the same obstacles, the same conflicts, the same unfulfilling outcomes. Until one day, he recognized that his recurring challenges were reflections of his recursive thinking, each problem a geometric echo of his mental patterns, as above, so below, as within, so without. These ancient principles reveal that your inner geometry manifests as your outer reality. When Emmett shifted his perspective, the old patterns dissolved, replaced by new configurations of possibility. Every thought radiates like a tone through the fabric of existence, creating geometric patterns in the field of potential. These vibrations interact with the universal matrix, drawing forth matching frequencies into physical form. Your mental architecture becomes your material reality. The wisdom whispered through ages speaks clear. Shift the angles of your thinking, and the patterns of your life transform in kind. Each new thought creates new geometry, new possibilities, new pathways of manifestation. Practice the sacred geometry of thought. As the sun rises tomorrow, begin to experience your thoughts as living geometry. Each mental vibration sends ripples through the universe, creating patterns that shape your reality. Throughout your day, consciously choose thoughts that resonate with peace. Feel them forming circles of harmony in your mind. Select vibrations of worth. Watch as they create spirals of abundance. Embrace frequencies of coherence. Observe how they weave networks of order and clarity. As you move through your hours, witness how your reality begins to mirror these chosen geometries. Notice how circumstances align themselves with your inner architecture. Feel how your world rebalances itself to match the sacred symmetry of your consciousness. Chapter 3. Light obeys awareness. In a modest dwelling at the edge of town lived Georgia, a woman who discovered an extraordinary phenomenon during her morning meditations. Each time she settled into stillness, the shadows in her home seemed to retreat. The walls, once dull, took on a subtle luminescence that couldn't be explained by the position of the sun or any earthly light source. This luminous transformation reveals an ancient truth. Consciousness itself is electric in nature. Your awareness flows as pure energy, a divine current that shapes the very fabric of reality. Just as electricity illuminates a room, your consciousness illuminates experience. When you enter states of deep meditation, you tap into this primordial current, allowing it to flow more freely through your being. The universe operates on precise mathematical principles, yet these principles extend beyond physical matter into the realm of consciousness. Your thoughts and awareness generate actual electromagnetic fields, measurable by modern instruments but known to mystics throughout the ages. This is why spaces feel different in the presence of different people. Each consciousness emanates its unique frequency of light. A merchant named Lloyd discovered this truth through a different path. In moments of intense anger, he noticed the lights around him would flicker and dim, as if responding to the discord in his energy field. Through this experience, he learned that emotional states aren't merely internal experiences. They radiate outward, affecting the subtle energies that structure physical reality. Your emotional coherence acts as a lens, either focusing or dispersing this divine light. When you achieve inner harmony, you become like a perfect crystal, allowing consciousness to flow through you without distortion. This is why ancient temples were built with such precise geometry. They were designed to amplify and direct this sacred current. The wisdom of the ages whispers, as within, so without. The light you perceive in the physical world mirrors the clarity of your consciousness. When inner vision brightens, outer reality follows suit. This isn't metaphor. It's the fundamental architecture of existence. Practice the illumination of being. Find a quiet space, whether in darkness or light. Close your eyes and envision your consciousness as pure radiant energy emanating from your center. Feel this inner light growing stronger with each breath. When ready, softly speak the words, "Let there be understanding." Open your eyes slowly, maintaining awareness of your inner radiance. Notice how the quality of light around you shifts in response to your internal state. This practice reveals the direct connection between your conscious presence and the illumination of your world. Chapter 4. The Master's Silence. In the bustling marketplace of the ancient city, Nina stood amidst the chaos of merchants and travelers, each trying to outshout the other to draw attention to their wares. Yet she noticed that those who spoke the softest drew the most genuine interest. Their whispered promises carried more weight than the loudest proclamations. The universe speaks in silence. Its most potent mysteries unfold not in thunderous declarations, but in the spaces between breaths. What appears as secrecy in spiritual teachings is truly protection, not of the knowledge itself, but of its delicate resonance. Like a rare flower that blooms only in darkness, certain truths reveal themselves exclusively in the quiet chambers of contemplation. Your journey toward mastery requires discernment in speech. Each word carries energy, and those spoken from fear or desperation scatter your creative force to the winds. This is why ancient temples maintained chambers of silence, where initiates learned to distinguish between necessary speech and wasteful chatter. Clifford, a skilled craftsman, discovered this truth in his workshop. For years, he had explained and defended his creative process to others, until he noticed his finest works emerge during periods of complete silence. In stillness, he accessed a deeper well of inspiration, and his creations began to speak for themselves. The power you seek does not require voice. True authority resonates without proclamation. When you cease the constant narration of experience, you enter the treasury of pure potential. This is not suppression of expression, but rather its refinement. Like a master archer who releases the arrow without thought, your actions gain precision when they arise from silence. Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Those scattered carelessly yield chaotic growth, while those planted in the depth of silence bear fruit of lasting value. The masters of old knew, power accumulates in stillness. Each moment of conscious silence builds spiritual voltage, storing energy for genuine creation. Sacred practice. The chamber of silence. Find a space where you will remain undisturbed for 10 minutes. This practice requires no special posture or preparation. Simply cease all voluntary sound. Do not fight against thoughts as they arise. Instead, direct your attention to the space beneath them. Feel the living silence that exists between your thoughts, like the vast sky behind passing clouds. This silence is not empty. It is filled with creative potential. This is the inner chamber where all masters have begun their journey, and where you now take your first steps into deeper understanding. Chapter 5. The Ladder Within. In the mists of dawn, Beverly found herself once again ascending an endless golden ladder reaching into clouds of light. Night after night, this vision returned, each rung shimmering with a different hue of understanding. As she climbed, the air grew thinner, yet her breath deepened. With every step upward, her perspective expanded until cities became dots and mountains mere wrinkles in Earth's fabric. This ladder exists within you. It stands not in physical space, but in the chambers of consciousness. Each rung vibrates at a unique frequency, a distinct level of awareness that shapes your entire reality. The ascent requires no physical movement, only the willingness to release lower vibrations for higher ones. Through the ages, masters have taught that evolution happens in consciousness first. The body follows where awareness leads. Your current position on this infinite ladder reflects your dominant thoughts and feelings. Yet, you need not climb laboriously. Consciousness can leap entire sections through sudden revelation. Norman discovered this truth during his darkest hour. Sitting in his garden, weighted by despair, he forced himself to name one blessing, then another, and another. With each acknowledgement, his energy lifted. Without moving an inch, he traversed the distance between desolation and peace. In that moment, Norman ascended not through space, but through states of being. This is the secret of true elevation. It happens through recognition rather than effort. When you shift your frequency, you automatically rise to match it. Like a radio tuning to a clearer station, your entire experience transforms to align with your new vibration. The ladder has always been internal. Those who seek it in the outer world chase shadows. Yet when you attune to higher frequencies within, external reality reshapes itself accordingly. This is why masters smile at those who trek to mountain peaks seeking enlightenment. The only altitude that matters is the height of your understanding. Sacred practice, the vibrational staircase. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Envision before you a magnificent staircase of light, each step gleaming with its own luminescence. See the lowest steps bathed in deep red, representing fear and survival. Above them, steps of orange and yellow mark neutrality and acceptance. Rising higher, find steps of green and blue radiating joy and wisdom. At the summit, violet and white light pulse with pure consciousness. Stand at whichever level matches your current state. Breathe deeply, feeling the vibration of that step. Now, consciously choose to ascend. As you place your foot on a higher step, allow your entire being to attune to its elevated frequency. Breathe that new tone into every cell. Remain there until you feel your energy shift to match this higher octave of being. The staircase awaits within your consciousness. Your position is determined not by effort, but by resonance. Where will you choose to dwell? Chapter 6. The Hidden Word. A woman named Millie spent countless hours studying ancient texts, esoteric manuscripts, and mystical teachings. Her shelves overflowed with books promising the one secret phrase that would unlock reality's mysteries. She whispered incantations in forgotten tongues, recited sacred verses at dawn, and chanted mantras beneath the moon. Yet power eluded her grasp. One afternoon, exhausted from her endless seeking, Millie released a deep sigh. In that moment of surrender, two simple words emerged from her lips. I am. The universe seemed to pause, acknowledging this primal truth. She had discovered what the ages had preserved. The original creative force lies not in complex formulas, but in conscious identity. The power of I am transcends mere language. It is the vibration through which the divine first knew itself, the cosmic breath that sparked creation. When you speak these words, you touch the same creative current that ignites stars and shapes worlds. This declaration is your inheritance, your birthright as a conscious being. Yet, with this power comes sacred responsibility. Every I am statement molds the substance of your reality. Each time you complete that phrase, you command universal forces to manifest that truth. I am tired instructs the universe to generate exhaustion. I am blessed calls forth abundance. The power does not distinguish between what you desire and what you declare. It simply creates according to your word. Everett discovered this principle through bitter experience. For years, he habitually completed I am with limitations. I am broke. I am unlucky. I am always overlooked. Each negative declaration drained his vital force, constructing prison walls of circumstance around him. Only when he recognized the creative power of his words did his life begin to transform. The ancient masters guarded this knowledge carefully, knowing that words carelessly spoken become chains, while words consciously chosen become wings. I am is not a magic spell to be chanted, but a living truth to be embodied. It is the bridge between potential and manifestation, between the unformed and the formed. Sacred practice. As you move through your day, become intensely aware of every sentence that begins with I am. Notice how often these words cross your lips or echo in your thoughts. When you catch yourself completing this phrase with limitation, pause. Ask yourself, is this the reality I wish to create? Then consciously choose declarations that align with your highest truth. Let I am blessed, I am capable, I am divinely guided become your new architecture. Feel each statement's vibration as it shapes the subtle substance of your world. This is not positive thinking. It is conscious creation through the first language of the universe. Chapter 7. Mirrors in the Temple. In the depths of night, Flora wandered through dreams filled with endless mirrors. Each reflective surface showed a different version of herself, some radiant with joy, others clouded by doubt. As her emotions shifted, so too did every reflection, until she realized she stood in a vast temple where her inner state painted reality's walls. The universe operates as an infinite hall of mirrors, each surface perfectly calibrated to reflect back your deepest beliefs. What appears as external circumstance first took form in the temple of your mind. The world you see is not presenting facts to you. It is showing you your own expectations made manifest. Every person, every situation, every seeming obstacle or blessing mirrors back your consciousness with perfect precision. This truth reveals why two people can encounter the same situation, yet experience entirely different realities. One sees opportunity where another sees limitation, because the mirror responds not to what is, but to what you believe is. The reflection has no choice but to match your inner image. This is the law of consciousness made visible. Leonard discovered this principle through an unexpected revelation. For years, he saw only judgment in others' eyes, interpreting every interaction as criticism or rejection. His relationships grew increasingly strained until one day, gazing at his reflection, he chose to offer forgiveness instead of criticism. As he softened toward himself, a remarkable transformation began. Colleagues who had seemed harsh suddenly showed kindness. Family members he had thought disapproving began expressing appreciation. The outer mirror shifted to match his inner light. The mirrors of life reflect with unfailing accuracy, but they can be polished through emotional mastery. When you purify your feelings, releasing judgment, embracing acceptance, choosing love, the reflective surfaces of your world begin to shine with new clarity. Every person you encounter becomes a mirror showing you where inner work remains to be done. Each challenging situation reveals another surface ready to be polished by your growing awareness. Sacred practice. Gaze softly at your surroundings. Each person you see, each circumstance you face, is a mirror reflecting some aspect of your consciousness. That difficult colleague mirrors your own self-criticism. The abundant friend reflects your potential for prosperity. The peaceful garden shows your capacity for serenity. Without judgment, observe what each reflection reveals about your inner state. Then, with gentle intention, begin blessing every mirror you encounter. Bless the person who frustrates you. Bless the situation that challenges you. Bless your own reflection in all its forms. Watch as your world begins to shine back the peace you offer it. Chapter 8. The Architect's Compass. In ancient days, a young woman named Grace lived in a bustling marketplace where merchants hawked their wares and travelers shared tales from distant lands. Each morning, as the sun painted golden stripes across the stone streets, she would pause before opening her small shop, close her eyes, and let her heart speak. When others rushed to buy silk from far-off caravans or traded their coins for exotic spices, Grace remained still, listening to the quiet voice within. Time and again, her inner knowing guided her true, steering her clear of deceptive deals and leading her to honest traders, whose goods brought joy to her customers. The universal mind speaks through the heart's gentle whispers. This sacred compass exists within you, calibrated to truth's magnetic field. Unlike the rational mind, which spins in endless circles of doubt and calculation, the heart knows instantly. Its wisdom arrives complete, requiring no justification or proof. This inner compass operates through feeling rather than thinking. When aligned with truth, you experience a subtle warmth, an expansion, a quiet yes that needs no words. When faced with what isn't right for you, the heart contracts, creating a sensation of heaviness or closure, even if logic argues otherwise. Vernon, a merchant known for his analytical mind, spent years crafting elaborate systems to predict market trends. His ledgers overflowed with calculations, yet success eluded him. One day, exhausted by endless planning, he sat in silence and simply felt into his next choice. A clear sensation arose, light and buoyant, guiding him to invest in a modest shipment of local goods rather than the exotic imports he typically chose. This simple decision, born of inner knowing rather than mental gymnastics, marked the beginning of his most prosperous season. Your heart holds an unwritten wisdom that precedes thought. This knowing doesn't arrive through debate or discussion. It simply is, like the warmth of sunlight or the pull of gravity. When you learn to trust this internal guidance system, life flows with remarkable grace and timing. Ancient practice. Sit quietly with your palms resting upward. Bring to mind a question that seeks guidance. Rather than searching for an answer, simply notice the immediate sensation in your chest. Does your heart expand or contract? Does warmth bloom or coolness spread? This first fleeting response, before thought intervenes, is your compass needle pointing true. Record these signals in a small journal, and over time you'll develop fluency in this sacred language of intuition. Chapter 9. The Alchemy of Perception. In a bustling marketplace, a young weaver named Harriet sat at her loom, threads tangled and patterns askew. Her latest tapestry, meant to be her masterwork, lay in ruins before her. Yet instead of surrendering to despair, she closed her eyes and lifted her gaze inward, rising above the seeming failure until she could view it from the zenith of higher understanding. Within this expanded vision, each broken thread revealed its purpose, not as flaw, but as teacher. The unraveled design spoke of patience yet to be mastered. The mismatched colors whispered of harmony still seeking balance. Through this elevated perspective, what appeared as loss transformed into luminous insight. When you align with the sacred alchemy of consciousness, every experience becomes raw material for transformation. Just as base metals were said to become gold through the philosopher's stone, your awareness can transmute the lead of difficulty into the gold of wisdom. This process requires neither force nor resistance, only the willingness to view what is through the lens of what could be. The density of emotion, whether grief, anger, or fear, contains concentrated power awaiting release through understanding. Like ice melting into flowing water, rigid thoughts soften in the warmth of expanded awareness. This is the art of spiritual transmutation. Walter discovered this truth when devastating loss entered his life. At first, grief sat heavy in his chest, a weight of lead pulling him into darkness. But as he learned to hold his sorrow in gentle awareness, something shifted. The dense pain began to dissolve, revealing beneath it a wellspring of compassion for all who suffer. His personal anguish transformed into universal understanding. This process mirrors an eternal principle. Consciousness refines frequency. When you raise your perception above the immediate situation, viewing it from the vantage point of the soul, dense emotions naturally transmute into their higher octaves. Grief becomes compassion, anger turns to strength, fear transforms to wisdom. The key lies not in resisting what you feel, but in bringing clear awareness to it. Like a chemist observing a reaction, you watch as heavy emotions shift state under the catalyst of consciousness. This is the true philosopher's stone, the transformative power of awakened perception. Sacred practice. When facing discomfort, observe it lovingly until it changes texture. You'll feel heaviness brighten, the philosopher's stone of consciousness at work. Discomfort, when met with loving awareness, reveals its true purpose: transformation. Most people resist pain, yet in the heart of every uneasy feeling lies dormant light waiting to be released. When you observe discomfort without judgment, neither pushing it away nor indulging in it, you invite it into the sacred space of acceptance. There, its dense energy begins to soften, shimmer, and finally transmute, much like base metal refining itself into gold within the alchemist's crucible. This is the hidden work of the philosopher's stone within consciousness, the ability to turn emotional lead into spiritual illumination. Every pang, every heaviness is a messenger carrying the raw material of awakening. By simply witnessing it with tenderness, you activate the inner heat of awareness that dissolves resistance and reveals wisdom. The body responds first. Tension loosens, breath opens, and presence expands into still clarity. In this alchemical state, discomfort becomes revelation. The very sensations once feared turn into gateways to self-understanding and power. The stone of consciousness doesn't just change what you feel, it refines who you are. Through this sacred observation, your pain becomes prayer, and your awareness, the alchemist's fire that returns all things to light. Chapter 10. The Secret Fire. A merchant's daughter named Violet lived in constant inner turmoil, interpreting the burning sensation within her as punishment for unnamed transgressions. She sought penance through fasting and self-denial, yet the fire only grew stronger. One night, as she sat in her garden watching a candle flame dance in perfect stillness, understanding dawned. What she had mistaken for divine judgment was actually creation's sacred current-seeking expression. The fire you feel within is not meant to consume you, but to create through you. This sovereign energy, known in ancient traditions as Kundalini, lies coiled at the base of consciousness like a sleeping serpent. It awakens not through force or suffering, but through the gentle warmth of joy and acceptance. This power rises naturally when aligned with your deepest purpose. Think of it as the universe's creative current, seeking to manifest through your unique gifts. When you resist this energy or misinterpret its nature, it can feel like punishment. Yet when embraced with love and understanding, it transforms into pure creative potential. Ralph, a humble potter, discovered this truth at his wheel. For years he pushed himself mercilessly, believing excellence required suffering. His work, though technically perfect, felt lifeless. Everything changed when he finally surrendered to the pure joy of creation. As he worked with love rather than pressure, the clay seemed to come alive under his hands. His pieces began radiating an inner light that touched all who saw them. The sacred fire ignites through purpose, not pressure. When you align with your soul's calling, this energy flows naturally, fueling manifestation without burning you. It requires neither force nor friction, only your loving attention and acceptance. This is the secret of divine creativity. It burns brightest when tended with reverence. Like a sacred flame, it must be neither suppressed nor forced, but mindfully nurtured. Your role is not to control this power, but to create the conditions that allow it to flow freely. When you feel this fire stirring within, recognize it as the universe's creative force seeking expression through you. Whether it manifests as art, innovation, healing, or any other form of creation, it is sacred. Your anxiety and resistance only cause it to burn erratically. Your love and acceptance allow it to warm and illuminate naturally. Sacred practice. Feel warmth in your belly as creative current. Feed it with gratitude, never anxiety. Your world burns brighter safely through reverent attention. This is the essence of creative fire stewardship, the art of nurturing inner energy with conscious devotion. The warmth in your belly is not merely physical. It is the seat of your life force, your sacred forge of manifestation. When you tend to it with gratitude, you keep the flame steady, luminous, and kind. Each thankful breath becomes a log upon the fire, deepening its golden glow. Anxiety, on the other hand, scatters the embers, dimming the current that longs to flow through you as inspiration, vitality, and purpose. Gratitude refines this creative current, transforming raw intensity into radiant clarity. The more reverently you attend to this warmth, the more it reveals itself as both source and servant, fueling your visions without consuming your peace. It is a reminder that creation is not born of strain, but of sacred balance, the steady pulse of energy held within an open, trusting heart. Through this awareness, you become a conscious keeper of your own flame. The world around you begins to reflect the light you've cultivated within, burning brighter not in chaos, but in coherence. In every moment of mindful gratitude, You affirm your role as both vessel and guardian of divine creative power, the artist tending the eternal fire that gives rise to all form. Part 2, Light Beyond Symbol. Chapter 11, The Veil of Initiation. In a small coastal village, Lena spent her nights visited by the same dream. Veils of gossamer fabric would descend before her eyes, each one carrying images of her life's most cherished beliefs. One by one, these veils would lift, revealing the truth beneath her carefully constructed illusions. With each unveiling, she felt both terror and liberation. Terror at facing what lay beneath, liberation in finally seeing clearly. The veils you perceive are not external barriers, but internal resistance to truth. Each represents a layer of self-deception, a comfortable illusion maintained by fear. These veils exist not to hide wisdom from you, but to protect you from truths you believe you cannot face. Yet it is precisely in facing them that you find your power. The moment of revelation arrives not through force or seeking, but through emotional courage. When you allow yourself to feel fully without resistance, the veils naturally dissolve. This is not a process of acquiring new knowledge, but of releasing old fears that obscure your innate wisdom. Albert, a wealthy merchant, discovered this truth when examining his drive for success. For decades, he had wrapped himself in veils of achievement, believing that accumulating more would fill an inner void. His revelation came not through gaining more, but through daring to feel the emptiness he had been running from. In that moment of raw honesty, the veils of illusion fell away, revealing that his true wealth lay in self-acceptance. The forbidden knowledge is not hidden in ancient tomes or secret teachings. It is veiled by your own unacknowledged fears. Each time you dare to look honestly at what you have been avoiding, another veil turns transparent. This is why truth cannot be given. It must be claimed through courage. The process of unveiling requires neither force nor struggle. Like morning mist dissolving in sunlight, illusions naturally fade when met with the warmth of honest awareness. Your role is not to tear away the veils, but to build the courage to stand present as they lift of their own accord. What you perceive as forbidden is simply what you have forbidden yourself to see. The greatest illusion is believing that truth lies somewhere outside yourself, when it awaits within, behind veils of your own making. Each moment of emotional honesty is an invitation for these veils to lift, revealing the clarity that has always been your birthright. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and name one hidden fear aloud. As you speak it, feel veil turn translucent and peace stream through. This practice is a gentle initiation into truth as liberation. When you name a hidden fear aloud, you call it out from the shadows of the subconscious into the cleansing light of awareness. The act of speaking it breaks its spell. What was once dense and secret loses its power in the presence of your honesty. You will feel the veil of tension begin to thin, and through its soft translucence peace enters, not as something added, but as what was always waiting beneath the fear's disguise. To name fear is not to feed it, it is to free it. The voice becomes a vessel of transformation, carrying stagnant energy into motion. As the words leave your lips, the body often responds, a sigh, a drop of the shoulders, a subtle expansion in the chest, as if it too recognizes the release. The fear's texture shifts from sharpness to openness, and the heart, long guarded, begins to breathe again. In this moment, you become both witness and healer. Peace streams through not as reward, but as revelation, the truth that there was never anything to defend against, only something misunderstood. Each time you practice this, the veil between your higher self and your human self grows thinner, until one day you discover they were never separate at all, only waiting for the courage of your voice to remember their unity. Chapter 12. The Numbers That Sing. In a quiet garden, Irene sat beneath flowering trees, noticing how the petals fell in precise patterns. Day after day, she watched numbers appear, 1111 on clocks, 333 in addresses, 777 on license plates. At first, she dismissed these as chance, until she began to hear something extraordinary, a subtle melody in their sequence, as if the numbers themselves carried music. The universe speaks through mathematics, but not the rigid calculations taught in schools. These are living numbers, dancing in harmony with consciousness. Each sequence vibrates at a specific frequency, creating a symphony of meaning that resonates with the soul's deepest knowing. When you encounter repeated numbers, patterns, or synchronicities, you're receiving direct communication from universal intelligence. These are not random coincidences, but precise attunements, moments when the veil between visible and invisible realms grows thin. The language of creation itself is mathematical, but it speaks through resonance rather than reason. Marvin discovered this truth while walking through an ancient marketplace. For weeks, he had grappled with a life-changing decision. That morning, he noticed 3 white doves landing in perfect triangular formation. Minutes later, 3 bells chimed. At lunch, 3 strangers independently mentioned the same obscure book. Instead of dismissing these alignments, he began paying attention. As his awareness shifted, the synchronicities grew stronger. Street signs offered answers to questions he'd asked in meditation. Songs on the radio spoke directly to his situation. The world transformed into a living oracle, every moment pregnant with meaning. Through this sacred attention, clarity emerged naturally, guiding his choice with unwavering certainty. These patterns surround you constantly, weaving messages through the fabric of your daily experience. They appear as recurring numbers, animal messengers, overheard conversations that pierce the heart with truth, or dreams that echo into waking life. The universe crafts these convergences with mathematical precision, yet they must be received through intuitive resonance rather than intellectual analysis. When you attune to these patterns, you enter into conscious dialogue with the infinite. Every synchronicity becomes a note in the cosmic song. Every coincidence, a letter in the divine alphabet. This is not mystical superstition, but the natural mathematics of consciousness expressing itself through form. The practice. Each time a pattern appears, whisper, "I hear you." Treat coincidence as conversation. The code responds with louder music. This is a practice of living in dialogue with the universe, an awakening to the understanding that reality is not random, but responsive. When a pattern repeats, whether in numbers, encounters, or emotions, it is the language of the unseen reaching out. By whispering, "I hear you," you acknowledge the intelligence woven through coincidence, transforming mere repetition into revelation. In that moment of recognition, Your awareness becomes a tuning fork, harmonizing with the subtle frequencies of guidance that constantly surround you. Coincidence, when met with reverence, becomes communion. The universe amplifies its messages in proportion to your listening. What begins as a faint rhythm grows into a melody unmistakable. This is the music of alignment, the way energy arranges itself to confirm you are in step with your deeper purpose. The more you honor these signs without grasping for meaning, the clearer their resonance becomes. Through this practice, life itself becomes a conversation between your consciousness and the infinite field of intelligence. Every repetition, every symbol, is an invitation to participate rather than analyze. The code of creation does not reveal itself through logic, but through attuned receptivity. When you listen deeply, reality begins to sing back, louder and truer each time, until coincidence transforms into symphony. Your own soul, speaking in the language of patterns and light. Chapter 13. The Wisdom Beneath Shadow. In a small mountain village, Olive spent her days tending to her garden, always careful to keep her emotions tightly controlled. She believed that anger, sadness, and fear were enemies to be vanquished. Each morning, she would push these feelings deeper into the shadows of her mind, maintaining a facade of perpetual light. One stormy evening, a mudslide threatened her home. In that moment of crisis, it was not her cultivated serenity that saved her, but the very impulses she had suppressed. Her anger gave her strength to move heavy debris. Her fear sharpened her instincts, and her sadness connected her to neighbors who came to help. Through nature's intervention, Olive discovered that her shadow held wisdom she had long denied. The law of integration reveals that what you resist persists with greater force. Your shadow is not your enemy, but your teacher in disguise. These aspects you judge as dark carry the seeds of your greatest power. Like a diamond forming under pressure, consciousness expands through embracing all its facets. In the depths of the psyche lies untapped potential, waiting to be acknowledged. When you turn away from any part of yourself, you fracture your own light. Integration requires courage to face what you have deemed unacceptable. Yet in this facing lies true spiritual maturity. Simon, a merchant known for his perfectionism, learned this truth when his business faced collapse. His drive for flawless execution had created such tension that his employees began to leave. Only when he acknowledged his own imperfections did his natural leadership emerge. By accepting his limitations, he freed others to be human. His business flourished not despite imperfection, but because of the authenticity that bloomed in its acceptance. Your shadow holds the very medicine you seek. What appears as darkness is often light too bright for current vision. Like eyes adjusting to sudden brightness, integration happens gradually. Each aspect you reclaim adds depth to your presence and power to your purpose. The mysteries teach that gold must pass through fire to shine. Similarly, consciousness must embrace its full spectrum to radiate true wisdom. Your shadow is not a mistake to correct, but a teacher bearing gifts. When you welcome what you once rejected, energy locked in resistance becomes available for creation. Sacred practice. Take your journal and find a quiet moment. Write down one trait you've been fighting against, perhaps anger, doubt, or fear. Beside it, write these words: "You protected me." Feel how this acknowledgement begins to transform what was rejected into an ally. Notice the subtle shift as judgment dissolves into understanding. This practice initiates the alchemy of integration, where shadow reveals its golden core. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Awakening the 33rd Degree. A merchant's daughter named Lillian spent years searching sacred texts and ancient scrolls, believing enlightenment lay in accumulating knowledge. Yet one morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, she sat in meditation and found herself ascending through inner chambers of consciousness, each numbered like steps to heaven. At the 32nd chamber, all her gathered wisdom fell away like autumn leaves. As she entered the 33rd chamber, time stood still. There, bathed in golden light, she encountered not an angel or sage, but herself, perfect, whole, and complete. In that moment she understood. The highest truth was not something to attain, but a recognition of what had always been. The universe speaks in mirrors and reflections. What appears as separation is merely consciousness playing hide-and-seek with itself. Within the 33rd degree lies neither ritual nor secret knowledge, but the simple, profound awareness that you are the source, experiencing itself through form. This truth cannot be taught, only remembered. When Eugene, a humble gardener, discovered this same chamber while tending his roses, he laughed at its simplicity. All his life he had nurtured other things to grow, never realizing he was the soil and the seed, the rain and the flower. The 33rd degree reveals that sovereignty does not come from rising above creation, but from recognizing yourself as the creator, dreaming all forms into being. In this sacred space, the seeker and the sought dissolve into one living breath. Here, manifestation requires no effort, because you have remembered that you are the manifesting power itself. This is why ancient wisdom remains timeless. It points to what you have always been. The crown of consciousness sits not upon the head of those who know many things, but rests naturally upon those who remember their true identity. When you glimpse this truth, reality reshapes itself around your awakened awareness. The world you see transforms because the seer has transformed. In recognizing your oneness with Source, you discover that all paths led to this single revelation. You are what you seek. The practice. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Let your awareness rest at the crown of your head. Imagine a soft light beginning to bloom there, like a lotus opening its petals to the sun. As you breathe deeply, whisper the words, "One with all." Feel how your thoughts and infinite consciousness share the same breath, the same space, the same being. Rest in this recognition for several minutes, allowing the boundaries between self and source to dissolve into pure awareness. Chapter 15. The Forbidden Corridor. In the heart of an ancient marketplace stood a hallway everyone hastened past, averting their eyes as though it didn't exist. Yet Marjorie, drawn by an inexplicable knowing, found her feet carrying her toward its threshold. Unlike the bustling commerce around her, this passage held a different kind of wealth, the currency of silence. As she stepped into the forbidden corridor, instead of the expected darkness, she discovered a quality of light that seemed to emanate from within the walls themselves. Each step brought not fear, but a deepening sense of mastery over her own being. The very air seemed charged with potential. teaching her that what others avoid often guards the gates of power. The universe whispers its deepest truths in spaces others dare not venture. When you encounter resistance to exploring certain aspects of your consciousness, recognize this as a sign marking the threshold of transformation. That which appears forbidden simply asks if you're prepared for its potency. Gerald, a merchant known for his shrewd dealings, discovered this truth during his morning meditation. As insights flooded his awareness, his first impulse was to share them with everyone he met. Yet something held him back, an inner knowing that these revelations were seeds requiring darkness to sprout. With each passing day of holding his silence, he felt the power of his realizations growing stronger, taking root in the fertile soil of his being. His quiet confidence began attracting opportunities and insights that his previous need to speak would have scattered to the winds. Sacred knowledge carries its own timing. When you receive wisdom beyond ordinary understanding, the impulse to share it tests your readiness to embody it. True power grows in the soil of silence, protected from the harsh light of premature exposure. The mysteries of life unveil themselves to those who honor their sanctity. Each insight arrives with its own atmosphere of reverence, asking not to be spoken, but to be lived. In maintaining sacred silence, you allow divine wisdom to mature within you until its fruit naturally falls from the tree of understanding. The practice. Take a moment now to acknowledge an insight that has recently blossomed in your consciousness. Rather than sharing it outwardly, create a private sanctuary for this truth within your heart. Throughout the day, nurture this knowing in silence, feeling its roots growing deeper with each moment you honor its privacy. Let your changed behavior be the only evidence of its existence. In this sacred secrecy, watch how your inner power magnifies itself through the simple act of conscious containment. Chapter 16. The Living Symbol. In a sun-filled studio, Bonnie sat with her sketchbook, her hand moving as if guided by an unseen force. The lines flowed together, forming an intricate pattern she had never seen before. As she gazed at the completed symbol, something extraordinary occurred. It began to shimmer with an inner light whenever her thoughts turned to love and gratitude. Within you lies this same creative force, this ability to infuse meaning into form. The ancients understood that symbols are not mere drawings on paper or stone. They are bridges between the seen and unseen realms. Each curve, each line, serves as a conductor for the eternal language of spirit. The true power of sacred geometry lies not in the shapes themselves, but in the resonance they create within the observer. These patterns echo the divine architecture of creation, yet remain dormant until awakened by the heart's recognition. Curtis, a skeptical scholar, spent years studying esoteric manuscripts, seeking to unlock their mysteries through academic analysis. One evening, while tracing an ancient spiral pattern, tears of joy unexpectedly filled his eyes. In that moment, the symbol ceased being an object of study and became a living presence. He realized that understanding comes not through the mind's dissection, but through the heart's embrace. The symbols that surround you, from the spiral of a shell to the branching of trees, carry messages waiting to be received. These are not messages to be decoded, but truths to be felt. When you approach any symbol with love, it transforms from a static form into a doorway through which wisdom flows. Your world teems with living symbols, each one a letter in the universal language of spirit. The key to reading this language lies not in memorizing meanings, but in cultivating the ability to feel the resonance each symbol awakens within you. Look around your space now. Every object holds the potential to become a sacred symbol, a bridge between your conscious mind and the infinite intelligence that flows through all things. The practice below will guide you in awakening this ancient way of seeing and knowing. Practice. The living symbol. Choose any simple object in your environment, perhaps a stone, a leaf, or even a cup. Hold it in your hands and close your eyes. Begin to fill your heart with genuine gratitude. Direct this feeling toward the object, acknowledging its presence in your life. Stay with this practice until you sense a shift in how you perceive the object. It may feel warmer, seem to pulse with energy, or take on a new significance. You have just created your own living symbol, a personal bridge to the sacred. This object now carries your conscious blessing, transformed by the alchemy of your attention and love. Chapter 17. Eyes that See Energy. In the soft morning light filtering through her window, Esther noticed something extraordinary. Gentle halos of color surrounding the people passing by on the street below. At first, she questioned her vision, but as days passed, she realized these ethereal hues shifted with each person's emotional state. A mother comforting her child radiated soft pink. A hurried businessman emanated sharp reds and oranges. The language of light speaks through every living being. These subtle emanations, what mystics call the aura, reveal the inner symphony of emotion and intention that each soul conducts. Just as a prism breaks white light into its component colors, consciousness disperses through the spectrum of feeling. This sensitivity arrives not as a gift bestowed, but as an awakening of what was always present. Your eyes already see beyond physical form. They simply await your permission to trust this deeper vision. The aura is not supernatural. It is simply nature operating at its most refined frequency. Harold, a former skeptic, discovered this truth while working as a counselor. One afternoon, he began perceiving subtle shifts in the atmosphere around his clients. Rather than dismissing these impressions, he allowed them to inform his understanding. A client's words might project confidence, but the gray mist around them revealed hidden sorrow. This awareness didn't separate Harold from others. Instead, it dissolved the illusion of separation entirely. Through this enhanced perception, he recognized that every person carries their own inner light, each one perfect in its unique expression. His judgment transformed into compassion as he realized that all colors, whether bright or muted, played their necessary part in life's grand spectrum. The ability to perceive these subtle energies comes not through striving, but through softening. When you release the need to analyze and simply allow yourself to feel, the world reveals its luminous nature. Every person you encounter radiates their truth, telling their story through the language of light. This perception brings responsibility, not to judge or diagnose, but to honor each soul's journey through the rainbow of experience. True vision extends beyond the physical eye to the heart's understanding, where all colors blend into the white light of unconditional love. Practice blessing the unseen rainbow. As you move through your day, pause briefly when encountering others. Without straining to see anything specific, Allow your awareness to soften around each person. Silently offer this blessing. I honor the light within you, in all its colors. Notice how this simple acknowledgement shifts your perception and opens your heart. This practice awakens natural sensitivity, while cultivating deep respect for each soul's unique radiance. Chapter 18. The Architecture of Speech. In a small village by the sea, Gloria worked as a healer, though not in any conventional sense. She noticed that when she spoke to those in distress, their bodies would shift and relax, as if her words were unseen hands rearranging the stones of their suffering into foundations of peace. The power of speech flows deeper than sound waves rippling through air. Each utterance carries the force of creation itself, sculpting the invisible architecture of experience. When you speak, you wield the same creative power that shaped worlds into being. Your words are not mere expressions. They are living blueprints that the universe faithfully constructs into reality. The ancient masters understood that language holds the keys to transformation. They knew that each syllable sung into existence carries a specific vibration, capable of either strengthening or dissolving the structures of circumstance. This wisdom teaches that words are not simply descriptive, they are prescriptive, laying down the foundation of what will manifest. Raymond, a teacher struggling with an unruly classroom, discovered this truth through necessity. Each morning, he began consciously crafting his speech, choosing words that built bridges rather than walls. I see your potential replaced, why aren't you listening? Let's explore this together, superseded, you're not trying hard enough. Day by day, the atmosphere transformed. His conscious language restructured the very field of relationship between himself and his students. The tongue holds power to bless or curse, to heal or harm. Yet this power lies not in the words themselves, but in the consciousness behind them. When you speak from alignment with higher truth, your words carry the weight of universal law. They become tools of divine architecture, building corridors of possibility in the minds and hearts of those who hear them. Consider how often unconscious speech creates unintended structures in your life. Complaints build prisons of circumstance. Harsh self-talk erects barriers to success. Criticism of others constructs walls of separation. Yet this same creative force, when wielded with awareness, can establish temples of understanding, bridges of connection, and gateways to new possibility. Your words are building blocks of reality. Each time you speak, you are laying foundation stones in the temple of your experience. The question is not whether you will build, for build you must, but what structures you will create. The practice. Before speaking, pause and sense whether love supports your next word. Build only with such bricks. Chapter 19. The Crystal Mind. In a small mountain village, Martha spent each morning polishing river stones. Day after day she worked with steady patience, transforming rough rocks into gleaming surfaces. One stone in particular caught her attention, an ordinary gray pebble that seemed to hold an inner light. As she continued her devoted practice, something remarkable occurred. The stone began to change, becoming more translucent with each gentle pass of her cloth. Through this simple act, a great truth unveiled itself. Just as persistent polishing revealed the stone's hidden radiance, focused attention clarifies the mind's creative power. When thoughts scatter like dust across consciousness, reality appears dim and unfocused. Yet when concentration sharpens to a single point, life's possibilities crystallize with diamond clarity. The universe operates through precise spiritual laws. Your thoughts are living architecture, building the structure of experience. Yet these thoughts must achieve a certain purity, like light passing through flawless crystal, to manifest with power. Mental static creates static in the material world. Crystal clarity creates crystalline order. Dennis discovered this principle through his work as a watchmaker. For years, his scattered mind led to imprecise repairs and frustrated customers. But one day, watching sunlight stream through his workshop window, he realized the parallel between light's perfect focus and mental precision. He began treating each repair as a meditation, allowing all thoughts to settle until only the task remained. Within weeks, his work transformed. Intricate mechanisms that once confused him now revealed their secrets easily. His reputation grew as clients praised his flawless craftsmanship. The key was not greater technical skill, but greater clarity of mind. These stories illuminate an essential truth. The universe responds not to the volume of your thoughts, but to their clarity. Like light through crystal, pure intention shines unobstructed into manifestation. When mental fog lifts, divine intelligence flows freely through your awareness, precisely arranging circumstances to mirror your clear vision. The ancient practice of crystal mind. Before beginning any important task, pause and center yourself. Visualize your mind as a perfect piece of clear quartz crystal. See your thoughts passing through this crystalline medium without distortion or shadow. Feel how this clarity creates an unobstructed channel between intention and manifestation. Maintain this crystal-clear awareness as you proceed, letting divine light refract purely through your consciousness into form. Chapter 20. The circle returns to one. In the heart of an ancient temple, Pauline spent years seeking wisdom from masters and sacred texts. She traveled across lands, climbed mountains, and explored mystical caves. Yet one morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, she experienced a revelation that changed everything. The truth she sought had never left her side. It dwelled within her own heart, patiently waiting to be recognized. The circle of spiritual awakening moves not in linear progression, but in sacred spirals. Each step forward leads deeper inward, until the path reveals itself as an eternal return to your divine nature. What appears as endless seeking transforms into infinite remembering. The universe orchestrates this dance of revelation through cycles. Just as day flows into night and seasons turn in perfect sequence, consciousness spirals back to its source. Your spiritual journey does not end at some distant peak. It culminates in recognizing what was present from the beginning. Arnold discovered this truth through his relentless pursuit of success. For decades, he chased achievement after achievement, believing fulfillment lay in the next accomplishment. Only when exhaustion brought him to stillness did he recognize the peace he sought had accompanied him all along. His striving dissolved into acceptance as he realized success meant remembering, not becoming. This eternal return reveals the greatest mystery. Enlightenment is not found, but remembered. Like a wave realizing it was always ocean, awakening happens when the seeker recognizes their inseparable unity with the sought. The circle closes not through gaining, but through recognizing what was never lost. Your consciousness moves in this same sacred spiral. Each challenge, each triumph, each moment of growth leads you back to your center. Yet with each return you arrive with deeper understanding. The circle is not repetition, but revelation. Each completion unveils another layer of your infinite nature. The ancient practice of eternal return. At day's end, draw a circle in air and whisper, "I complete and begin anew." Feel unity, lock like sunrise and sunset meeting. Part 3, Mastery and Memory. Chapter 21, The Seal of Responsibility. A young weaver named Ida spent her days crafting intricate tapestries, each thread woven with intense desire for success and recognition. As her skill grew, she noticed an uncanny pattern. Every image she wove manifested in her life with exact precision, yet often with unexpected consequences. One day, driven by competition, she wove a tapestry depicting herself receiving an award, while her rival's work lay discarded. Within a week, she indeed won the competition, but the victory felt hollow as her rival, whose friendship she secretly valued, fell into despair and abandoned their craft entirely. The manifestation matched her intent perfectly, revealing the hidden shadows in her heart. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, reflecting back the precise frequency of your intentions. When you set a desire in motion, the creative forces do not judge between what you consciously want and your deeper motivations. They simply respond with mathematical accuracy to the complete vibration of your being. This power of manifestation flows through every thought, every emotion, every subtle intention. Yet this gift comes with sacred responsibility. Like a master craftsman's tools, creative energy must be wielded with wisdom equal to its strength. Your thoughts are seeds planted in fertile cosmic soil. They will grow exactly as you plant them, not as you later wish you had. Calvin, a merchant, learned this lesson when he impulsively wished for his competitor's business to fail, seeking to corner the market. His wish manifested swiftly, but the resulting monopoly bred corruption in his own heart, eventually leading to his downfall. The power had responded precisely to his intent, teaching him through consequence the importance of humble service rather than selfish gain. True mastery lies not in perfecting your ability to manifest, but in purifying the heart from which manifestation springs. Before you exercise creative power, examine your motives in the light of universal good. Ask yourself, does this desire serve the growth of all? Does it arise from love or fear, from abundance or scarcity? The divine signet, that sacred seal of creative authority, only validates those intentions aligned with the highest good. This is not a limitation, but a protection, ensuring that as your power grows, it remains in harmony with universal law. When your heart beats in rhythm with service to all, manifestation becomes not just powerful, but wise. Sacred practice. Before expressing any desire, pause and silently add the words, "for the highest good of all." Feel how this simple phrase shifts your energy from personal want to universal harmony. Watch as your ego's demands soften into wisdom's gentle knowing. Let this crown of clarity rest upon each wish, transforming mere manifestation into sacred creation. Chapter 22. When the Walls Disappear. In the heart of an ancient temple, a young woman named Naomi sat in meditation. As her breath deepened, the solid walls around her began to fade. First, the textures blurred, then the colors merged, until finally all material substance dissolved into pure light. In this moment, she discovered herself floating in boundless awareness, untethered from physical limitation. The dissolution of form reveals a truth hidden since time immemorial. Reality is not fixed, but fluid, shaped by the focus of consciousness. When attention releases its grip on the material world, the illusion of separation dissolves. You exist as pure awareness, unbounded by the constraints of physical form. This truth lies at the core of creation itself. The solid world you perceive is sustained by your concentrated attention, much like a projector maintains an image on a screen. Yet beneath this projection lies an ocean of infinite possibility, waiting to be recognized. In the depths of his meditation practice, Felix encountered this same revelation. As a merchant who had built his life around material certainty, he struggled initially with surrendering his rigid beliefs about reality. But one morning, as he released his need to control and understand, the walls of his perception crumbled. In that sacred space of not knowing, he touched the formless essence of being. His experience mirrors an ancient teaching. What appears solid is merely light dancing in patterns of thought. When you release your grip on these patterns, reality reveals its fluid nature. This is not about escaping the physical world, but understanding its true essence. The material realm is not an illusion to be rejected, but a beautiful expression of consciousness taking form. As you recognize this, you move beyond the limiting beliefs that bind awareness to rigid structures. In this freedom lies the greatest discovery, that love is the underlying fabric of existence itself. This wisdom has been preserved in mystical traditions across ages. Beyond form lies freedom. Beyond freedom lies love. When you release your attachment to fixed reality, you discover the limitless nature of your true being. This is the gateway to genuine transformation. Practice. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Allow your breath to become soft and natural. Now, gradually shift your awareness to the boundaries of your physical form. Notice how these boundaries begin to feel less distinct, more permeable. Don't resist this softening. Let it happen naturally. Feel the expanse of space breathing through you as you, infinite and calm. Rest in this boundless awareness, recognizing it as your true nature. Here, in this formless realm, you touch the eternal truth of who you are. Chapter 23. The Twin Flames Within. In the silence of dawn, Alma knelt before her altar, yearning for completion. For years she had searched the world for her perfect complement, convinced that someone else held the missing piece of her soul. Yet on this morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, a profound vision unfolded within her consciousness. Two brilliant lights appeared in her inner sight, one golden as the sun, radiating strength and direction, the other silvery as moonlight, flowing with intuitive wisdom. As she watched, these lights began to dance, drawing closer until they merged into a dazzling white radiance at the center of her being. In that moment, she understood. The completion she sought had always existed within. The ancient mystery schools taught this sacred truth. Within each soul dwells both masculine and feminine energies, waiting to be unified. This inner marriage represents the highest alchemy, the union of wisdom and will, intuition and intellect, receptivity and action. When these polarities find balance within, the desperate search for completion in the outer world naturally dissolves. Rufus discovered this same truth through a different path. As a judge known for his logical precision, he had long dismissed his intuitive promptings as weakness. Yet through inner work, he learned to honor both his razor-sharp analysis and his heart's subtle knowing. As these aspects merged, he found himself making decisions with unprecedented clarity and compassion. His presence radiated a serene wholeness that others could sense. This balance of opposing forces lies at the heart of all creation. Just as day needs night and summer needs winter, your consciousness requires both masculine and feminine qualities to express its full potential. When these energies unite within, you become a living temple of divine harmony. The craving for completion ends not in finding another, but in discovering wholeness within yourself. This doesn't diminish the beauty of relationship. Rather, it allows you to connect from fullness instead of need. When you embody both king and queen within your own court, every encounter becomes an exchange between sovereigns rather than beggars. Practice. Find a quiet space and center your awareness in your chest. Visualize two distinct lights there, one golden, representing the masculine aspect of your nature, one silver, embodying the feminine. Watch these lights begin to move, drawing closer together in a sacred dance. Allow them to merge naturally into brilliant white radiance. Rest in the peace of this union, feeling the equilibrium of balanced being. This is your true nature, complete, whole, and unified. Chapter 24. The Scroll of Memory. Long ago, in a quiet valley, there lived a woman named Clarice, who spent hours in solitude beneath an ancient oak tree. One dawn, as sunlight filtered through morning mist, she entered a state of deep stillness. In this sacred moment, her palm began to tingle. As she gazed down, ethereal script emerged across her lifelines, not written in ink, but in light itself. Each luminous letter revealed fragments of wisdom she had known before time began. The universe holds within its vast expanse an infinite library, a cosmic record of all that was, is, and shall be. This eternal archive exists not in some distant realm, but within the sacred temple of your own consciousness. Every soul carries within it the complete record of its journey, every lesson learned, every truth discovered, every wisdom gained across the ages. These records speak not through words alone, but through the language of pure knowing. They whisper through intuitive flashes, speak through synchronicities, and reveal themselves in moments of profound stillness. Your physical mind may forget, but your soul remembers all. In the bustling heart of a great city, Stanley sought desperately to access higher guidance. He consulted countless texts, performed elaborate rituals, and strained to force spiritual memories to surface. Yet the harder he grasped, the more elusive the wisdom became. One evening, exhausted from his efforts, he finally released his striving. In that moment of pure surrender, knowledge began flowing naturally, like a stream that had always been flowing beneath the ice of his conscious mind. Your eternal record cannot be accessed through force or intellectual effort. It opens only to the key of surrender. When you release the need to know, when you stop trying to remember, the memories that serve your highest good naturally rise to consciousness. The wisdom you seek has never left you. It simply awaits your gentle recognition. The physical world may speak through words written on paper, but soul wisdom writes itself in light across the chapters of your being. Every cell of your body holds the memory of stars. Every breath carries the echo of ancient truths. You are not learning, but remembering. You are not seeking, but awakening to what has always been there. Your hands are sacred instruments, sensitized to receive the subtle frequencies of soul memory. When joined together, they create a circuit of energy that can activate this inner knowing. Take a moment now to explore this timeless practice. Hold your hands softly together, palms touching in peaceful connection. Close your eyes and whisper with quiet certainty. Show me what I already know. Allow insights to unfold naturally, like petals opening to the sun. Trust that what needs to be remembered will surface in perfect timing. The eternal record speaks most clearly through the silence of surrender. Chapter 25. The Law Behind All Laws. In the quietest hours before dawn, Delia sat beneath an ancient oak tree. Her manuscripts of natural laws spread around her. For years she had studied the principles governing reality, the law of gravity, of cause and effect, of attraction and repulsion. Yet something deeper called to her understanding. As the morning mist curled around her feet, an insight crystallized within her consciousness. Every law she had studied was but a reflection of one fundamental truth, the law of conscious correspondence. Like countless tributaries flowing from a single spring, all principles emerged from this primary source. The law of conscious correspondence reveals that consciousness itself shapes the framework of existence. Your awareness does not simply observe reality, it corresponds with it, dances with it, creates with it. When your inner state shifts, the outer world must follow, for they are not two separate things, but one unified expression. In the marketplace of a distant village, Patrick faced this truth through unexpected means. As a merchant known for his fierce negotiations, he had mastered the rules of trade. Yet one morning, something within him changed. Rather than approaching each transaction with calculated strategy, he allowed inner peace to guide his actions. To his amazement, every interaction naturally found its perfect balance. Customers who normally haggled fiercely settled into fair exchanges with ease. Those who usually hurried past his stall now paused, drawn by an invisible harmony. Without forcing or manipulating, Patrick watched as the outer world reflected his inner state of tranquility. The secret lies not in mastering many laws, but in aligning with the one law that governs them all. When your consciousness rests in harmony, every natural law bends to serve that resonance. The universe cannot help but mirror your inner symphony. This is why those who chase mastery through force often find it elusive. They attempt to impose their will upon reality's laws, not realizing that all laws arise from consciousness itself. True mastery flows from inner alignment, not outer control. Your task is not to memorize endless rules and regulations, but to cultivate the harmony within. When your awareness rests in peace, every law naturally aligns to support your highest good. This is the essence of the law of conscious correspondence, as within, so without, always and in all ways. Ancient practice. When you encounter discord or conflict, pause your outer actions. Close your eyes and feel the harmony that already exists beneath the surface of apparent chaos. Let your breath deepen until you sense the melodious flow of universal peace. Only when your inner music plays clearly should you act. Your aligned consciousness will naturally guide you into correspondence with life's highest laws. Chapter 26. The Crown of Light. In a garden filled with morning light, Edith sat in contemplation, carrying the weight of old grievances. As she released each person from blame, family members, colleagues, strangers who had wounded her, something extraordinary occurred. A luminous circle materialized above her head, as tangible as sunlight, yet more refined, more pure. This radiance marks the awakening of what ancient wisdom knows as the crown chakra, the sacred gateway where human consciousness meets divine understanding. Like a flower opening to celestial dew, this energy center blossoms when the heart releases its burdens and allows grace to enter. The crown chakra represents more than merely an energy point. It serves as the seat of divine reception. When activated through forgiveness, gratitude, or profound spiritual realization, it creates a channel through which higher wisdom flows unimpeded. This is why saints and sages throughout time have been depicted with halos. They simply made visible what exists within all beings. Hubert discovered this truth through a different path. After losing everything he owned in a disaster, he began each day by listing his blessings. At first, finding gratitude seemed impossible. Yet as he persisted, something shifted. One morning, while giving thanks for the simple miracle of breath, he felt a warm glow descend from above, as if the universe itself was acknowledging his grateful heart. The crown illuminates when ego bows to wisdom. Its light represents the mind's surrender to something greater than itself. This is why true enlightenment always carries the signature of humility, for only an empty cup can be filled with light. Your own crown chakra awaits this awakening. It requires no special ritual or decades of study, only the willingness to release judgment and open to grace. When you forgive completely, when gratitude fills your heart, when you bow in genuine humility before life's mysteries, the crown naturally activates. This sacred circuit connects your individual awareness to universal consciousness. Through it, divine intelligence flows into your being, transforming limited perception into expanded understanding. Yet this gift comes with profound responsibility, for as your crown awakens, you become a channel through which light enters the world. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into peaceful breathing. Picture a soft, golden light hovering like a gentle crown just above your head. Feel its warmth beginning to descend, flowing down through your body system like honey. With each breath, allow this light to penetrate deeper, illuminating every cell with peaceful radiance. Let this divine current wash away all resistance, all judgment, all separation, until only light remains. The crown of wisdom now rests upon you, not as symbol of superiority, but as reminder of your eternal connection to Source. Chapter 27. The Master's Test. In the quiet mountain village of Etherton, Charlotte tended her garden with loving care each morning. Her years of spiritual practice had taught her to find peace in simple moments. Yet one morning she discovered her entire garden destroyed, plants uprooted, soil scattered, and precious herbs trampled. Her first impulse was anger, then despair. But as she stood amid the destruction, a strange calm washed over her. The chaos before her eyes began to reveal a hidden pattern, one that spoke of divine order even in apparent randomness. The universe tests readiness through tribulation. When you approach the highest chambers of consciousness, your mastery faces its greatest examination. These moments arrive not as grand challenges, but through daily situations that probe the depth of your understanding. Your response to seeming disorder reveals the truth of your attainment. Those who have merely memorized wisdom react from old patterns. Those who have embodied wisdom remain centered, knowing that chaos serves evolution's purpose. Ernest discovered this truth when his life's work, decades of careful research, vanished in a computer crash. Instead of collapsing into desperation, he sat in perfect stillness. In that space of acceptance, he recognized that loss creates room for greater wisdom to enter. His subsequent insights surpassed all that was lost. The final initiation often appears as a complete dissolution of control. The universe asks, "Will you trust even when all seems lost? Can you maintain peace when your carefully constructed world appears to crumble?" True power lies not in preventing disorder, but in remaining poised within it. Each challenge serves as a mirror, reflecting your level of mastery back to you. Your reaction becomes your teacher, showing where attachment still lingers and where freedom has been attained. Charlotte discovered this as she began replanting her garden. Each seed she placed in the newly turned soil carried deeper intention than before. The destruction had cleared space for stronger roots, more vibrant growth. She realized that the apparent loss had initiated her into a higher understanding of creation itself. When difficulty arises, remember, the depth of your peace measures the height of your attainment. Let each challenge refine your mastery rather than shake your foundation. The universe never sends more than you're ready to transform through wisdom. The practice. In moments of stress or apparent chaos, pause, smile gently and whisper, "This too is initiation." Feel the power of those words dissolve resistance. Watch as calm proves its authority over circumstance. Your equanimity in challenge becomes the crown of your mastery. Chapter 28. The Chamber of Light and Shadow. In the quiet dawn, Lucy sat beneath an ancient oak tree, her breath falling into natural rhythm. As her awareness deepened, she witnessed an extraordinary vision unfold. Golden strands of light intertwined with shadows, dancing together in perfect harmony. Rather than fighting against the darkness, the light embraced it, creating patterns of breathtaking beauty. In that moment, Lucy understood. There was no battle to be won, only a dance to be joined. The wisdom whispers through ages. Opposition exists not to be conquered but to be understood. Within the grand tapestry of existence, every thread serves its purpose. Light needs shadow to reveal its brilliance. Joy knows its fullness through the touch of sorrow. Strength finds its meaning in the presence of weakness. These are not enemies to vanquish, but partners in an eternal dance of creation. When you resist what appears to oppose you, you create tension that blocks the natural flow of universal energy. The master understands that resistance itself is the source of suffering. Acceptance transforms the battlefield into a ballroom where seeming opponents become dance partners in the cosmic choreography. Jerome, an artist in the mountains, discovered this truth through his craft. For years, He struggled to create the perfect painting, trying to capture only beauty, only light. His works felt incomplete until the day he embraced contrast. Adding shadow to his canvas, he watched in wonder as his paintings came alive. The interplay of light and dark created depth that neither could achieve alone. His masterpiece emerged not from elimination, but from inclusion. The universe maintains its balance not by destroying one side of any equation, but by holding space for both, like inhalation and exhalation, like day and night, like the ebb and flow of tides. Opposing forces create the rhythm of existence. When you align with this truth, you step into mastery. Think of your greatest challenge right now. What you resist persists because it carries half the wisdom you seek. The obstacle before you is not your enemy. It is your teacher, offering the exact lesson your soul requires for growth. The sacred practice. Pause throughout your day whenever you encounter opposition. Rather than bracing against it, soften your resistance. Whisper this blessing: I honor your place in the pattern of creation. Notice how this shift in perspective transforms the energy of the situation. What once appeared as conflict reveals itself as complement, completing the sacred geometry of your journey. Chapter 29. The Final Key. In a small garden filled with morning light, Rita sat in meditation, surrounded by sacred texts, crystals, and carefully drawn symbols. For years she had studied ancient practices, believing complexity held the key to manifestation. Yet on this dawn, as she released her grip on technique, an unexpected warmth bloomed within her chest. The sensation grew until tears streamed down her face, not from sorrow, but from overwhelming love that needed no reason to exist. In that moment, every flower around her seemed to lean closer. Every beam of sunlight grew brighter, and reality itself appeared to reshape according to the rhythm of her heart. This truth lies at the pinnacle of all spiritual teaching. The universe responds not to what you do, but to what you are. When love fills your being completely, creation itself mirrors that frequency. No ritual can match the creative power of a heart opened fully to life's presence. In the marketplace of a distant village, Wesley sat watching children play. Their laughter echoed through the square, pure and unburdened. Suddenly, he found himself joining their mirth, not from any external cause, but from simple joy of being. As his laughter merged with theirs, the world around him transformed. Colors intensified, strangers smiled spontaneously, and even the air seemed to sparkle with possibility. The highest wisdom often appears in life's simplest moments. Those seeking mastery through complexity eventually discover that power flows most freely through uncomplicated channels. When you strip away all technique and ceremony, what remains is the pure presence of being, the natural state that attracts all things effortlessly. This revelation might seem too simple for minds trained to expect difficulty. Yet therein lies its transformative power. Love, fully felt without condition or cause, creates more swiftly than any elaborate system of manifestation. It is not the love that seeks or needs, but the love that simply is. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Rather than direct love toward any person or object, simply allow love to exist within you without purpose or destination. Feel it expand naturally, dissolving the boundaries between inner and outer worlds. This pure vibration of being is the master key. It opens all doors simultaneously, transforms all circumstances effortlessly, and aligns all energies perfectly. Let this state become your natural residence. Chapter 30. The Mason of the Infinite. In the depths of her morning meditation, Audrey sat in the garden she had carefully tended for years. Sunlight filtered through leaves, creating patterns on the ground that seemed to shift and dance. As she closed her eyes, a profound realization washed over her. The temple she had spent a lifetime seeking wasn't built of stone and mortar, but of consciousness itself. The understanding came not as words, but as pure knowing. Every breath, every thought, every moment of awareness was another pillar in this living sanctuary. The flowers she had planted, the stones she had arranged, even the space between things, all were expressions of the same divine architecture that composed existence itself. Within this infinite temple, each soul stands as both architect and creation. To know something deeply is to participate in its building. To love unconditionally is to maintain the sacred structure of all that is. To simply be, without resistance or grasping, is to return to the original blueprint that has always existed. Victor's awakening mirrored this truth from a different angle. Walking along the shoreline at dusk, he stopped suddenly as waves crashed against rocks. In that moment, the boundary between observer and observed dissolved completely. There was no Victor watching the ocean. There was only the cosmic dance of consciousness beholding its own magnificent unfolding. The stars above were not distant lights, but intimate aspects of the same awareness that peered through his eyes. This is the culmination of all seeking, the recognition that what appears as separate pieces, teacher and student, wisdom and ignorance, spirit and matter, are expressions of one indivisible whole. The 33rd degree reveals itself not as an achievement to be gained, but as an eternal truth to be remembered. The temple doors have always stood open. The light has never ceased shining. What seemed like a journey of ascending steps was actually a spiral path leading back to what was never lost, the perfect unity of being. Practice. Sit in perfect stillness and take one conscious breath while holding the entire world in your awareness. Take another breath as yourself, the individual. Then, with deepest sincerity, whisper these words that dissolve all separation. There is no difference. Let the truth of this simple statement ripple through every cell of your being. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. As you emerge from the final chamber, the nature of what was once forbidden reveals itself with crystalline clarity. Nothing was ever truly hidden. The mysteries were simply awaiting your readiness to perceive them. Like a flower that opens only when the light reaches the right intensity, wisdom unfolds according to the capacity of consciousness to receive it. What appeared as secrecy was merely the natural ordering of understanding. Just as a child must learn to crawl before walking, awareness expands in precise degrees. The 33rd degree stands not as an achievement to obtain, but as the remembrance of what you have always been, consciousness crafting itself into form through the pure geometry of love. Now you recognize that reality itself is sacred architecture in constant creation. Every circumstance shapes your understanding, Every thought molds the substance of experience. The universe builds through you as naturally as light streams through crystal. There are no barriers between creator and created, between the blueprint and the builder. You stand as both the living lodge and the infinite mind that conceived it. Your thoughts are the tools that shape space and time. Your emotions are the mortar that binds experience into coherent form. Your awareness is the master craftsman, selecting with care which energies to express into manifest reality. The greatest secret reveals itself as stunning simplicity. There was never anything to seek because you are what you sought. The forbidden knowledge was forbidden only by the limits of past understanding. In the clear light of mastery, you recognize that all paths lead to this moment of remembering. You are the architecture of existence expressing itself in human form, constantly creating, constantly discovering, constantly becoming.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.